What I think about the Chicago National Guards coming to take over the Chi. Trump's got all kinds of distractions and stuff. It's a situation where if you don't take care of your own backyard, somebody else will. But this is the thing. These cities, especially in chocolate cities, were done like that on purpose. It's a cap. It's institutionalized systematic racism. They have weapons of mass destruction to attack, to get at you, to do things, to mess with you. And then the flip and the irony of it is they want to come back and act like they're doing something to take it back when they brought that all along. Now, we can't say that black folks don't wreck they, especially in the projects and the hoods, that they don't do self-destruction. We can't say that. But how do you get the drugs? How do you get the guns? How do you get the violence? How do you get all that? You can paint any picture you want in any place you want. Now, Burb life is different because just on the foundation of how the streets are cleaned and the mindset, the way they put a face in the atmosphere. I'm not saying they don't have crimes in the burbs, but it's handled differently. But when you go to the hood and projects, you know that things hit differently. So now they send the National Guards to the Chi, and now it's kind of like, okay, well, we're going to act like we're tough on something. We're going to act like we're going to. This is the Trump facade in the game that's being played. But the reality is, the government and everybody else had already set that in place. You see, nobody gets access to starting to destroy their own being without the tools put into place. It's like your own Crayola. If I give you the Crayolas to cover the picture, you're gonna suddenly turn around and tell me, well, you can't color with those crayons or use that picture because it was already set in motion. And so when I sensed this whole thing with these National Guards going to predominantly black places with black mayors, etc., it's done like that on purpose. Now, the people have to take the streets back. And how do you take them back? But how do you fight against something that's been put in place to destroy you? If you grew up in the projects or grew up in the hood, when you saw cool misspelled cigarettes, that's what you saw. You saw liquor ads. You saw everything that was not age appropriate and mentally appropriate. You have a situation where you happen to refocus and rechannel your energy. So they've purposely set out to do things where they've manipulated um, so much. And then they want to turn around and act like they don't know. And then they was like, well, we're going to get tough on crime and get tough on this when you are the reason for it to be in there. You see, when I talk about two different Americas, that's exactly what I mean. Segregation, slavery, etc., never went away because you wouldn't have Section 8 and projects, and you wouldn't have to have separatism if you shared the capitalism. But you don't. Because unless there's a wave or tornadoes or hurricanes or storms that wipe it away, then you go gentrification. You don't rebuild and you don't sustain those neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods could be just as fine with black folks in them, but and if you took care of them, there is institutionalized corruption, which has allowed stuff to happen on purpose. So now when you get National Guards being sent in, we're going to be all tough on crime. That sends the continued old played out message that it's the black areas. And that's not saying there's not. But let's not kid ourselves either. How do you think the weapons and the drugs, the masters, everything got there? Who put them there? Who set everything up to be behind the eight ball on purpose? Now, folks got to stop taking each other out. That's a fact. However, who put the weapons in hand? Who put the drugs in hand? Who put the scenario there? And that's the part that never gets talked about. Because if we were to be honest about institutionalized systematic racism, you'd ask yourself, how come people aren't on equal footing? Why are they not? And it's done on purpose. It's a tactful move. And they know who they are. And they do this all the time. So National Guards, why don't you go to Beverly Hills? I can show you some suburban places that you won't go to. Yeah, here's a reason for it. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm on one time. Peace.